Yo, what is up guys, your boy IzuKage here with part 2 of what if Naruto had the curse mark. So you guys really had some good ideas for this part in the comments of the last part. So stick around for those and let's get right into the what if.
Talk to me next. Look.
So we last left off with Naruto sneaking into one of Orochimaru's hideouts and meeting him, Kabuto, and Jirobo. Naruto grabs Jirobo's hands and, gets up, and Orochimaru said, "So, you're finally here." Naruto raised an eyebrow and said, "Who are you?" And Orochimaru chuckled and said, "From now on, I'll be your master. I can provide you with power beyond your imagination." And hearing this raised Naruto's curiosity, and he had no choice but to accept. But before they start doing anything, Naruto had to go through the incubation period. I'm just calling it that. I'm not actually sure what the name of it is, but it's when they put Sasuke in the barrel thing to make his curse mark stronger. So yeah, Naruto did that, now unlocking his curse mark stage 2. Just look at the PNG on screen, but Naruto had long red hair, sharp claws, and instead of wings, he had tails. 2 very destructive tails. Imagine Kaneki's Kagane from, Tokyo Ghoul. So Naruto for the following weeks would go on to train with Orochimaru, different elements, but mainly lightning due to his affinity to it from his father's side. And Naruto learned many lightning jutsu like Chidori. So 1 week before the Chunin exams, and Orochimaru called Naruto into his lab. He walked in and bowed on one knee for Orochimaru. He said, "Naruto, I have a gift for you." Orochimaru then took out 2 Sharingan eyes in a test tube just floating around in a liquid. At first, Naruto was kind of worried to, rip out his own eyes and replace them, but Orochimaru assured him that they just work like light bulbs. You just screw out yours and screw in a new one. So while transplanting the eyes, Orochimaru couldn't control himself. He was grinning with joy. His hard work will soon pay off when Naruto's body is his. So after Naruto healed, Orochimaru told him about his plans to invade the Leaf. And after that conversation, Naruto returned to the Sound Four to inform them of their new mission. Naruto's power is now so great that he's the leader of the group, even though he's only been a part of it for, 3 weeks? So Naruto told the Sound Four that Orochimaru wants them to go to the Leaf and plan out their attack. So after a day of rest, the group sets out for the Leaf, and the entire journey there, Tayuya stayed close to Naruto. She felt more comfortable around him since she found out he's also an Uzumaki. I should say this isn't canon, but a lot of things point to her being Uzumaki, red hair, summoning techniques, and can control demons. And if you remember, the Uzumaki clan had a lot of knowledge and a whole mask collection of demons. So personally, I don't think she is, but for this what if, she is. So the Sound 4, technically the Sound 7, made it to the Leaf, and the members are Naruto, Tayuya, Jirobo, Sakon, Ukon, Kidomaru, and Kimimaru. The group splits up into teams of 2, Team 1 being led by Naruto, and their job is to spy on Eruzen and gather as much information on the Chunin exams beforehand as possible, while Team 2, led by Kimimaru, spies on Team 7, mainly, Sasuke. So this goes on for days leading up to the Chunin exams, and Naruto's team finds out a lot on the different stages of the exams. And all of this just to figure out when is the best time to attack. So while the Genin are in the first stage, the Sound 4 reconvene and return to Orochimaru's hideout with the news. Naruto enters his sleeping quarters, and when he answers the door, Naruto says, "Lord Orochimaru, we've completed our mission." Konoha's Chunin exams had 3 stages, and in the 3rd stage, most people will be spectating, leaving the village nearly empty, and this is the perfect time to attack. Orochimaru says, "Well done, Naruto. You will soon have time to test out your new abilities. Naruto frankly couldn't wait. So 1 month time skip, and during this time, Naruto and the Sound 4 have made many trips to the Leaf, planting explosive tags and working with the Sand Shinobi. So today is finally the day, and the Genin return after their month prep for the 3rd stage of the Chunin exams. Naruto and the others watch the matches from the roof above the arena, waiting for the signal to start the Konoha Crush. Sai, who took Naruto's place in this, beats Neji, and the other matches go about the same, including Sasuke versus Gaara. After Gaara got stabbed by a Chidori, Gaara began to transform into Shikaku, and when he was in his half Shikaku state, Naruto said, "We need to start now. Tayuya, cast the Genjutsu. I'll be going to the village to have some fun." Tayuya cast the Genjutsu, putting everyone in the stadium to sleep, and Naruto landed in the streets of Konoha. Explosions started going off all around the village, killing hundreds. Naruto smiled. This is what payback feels like. Naruto saw a group of villagers running in fear in his direction, and he smiles. Naruto weaved hand signs and said electro circuit. The ground was electrified and all 20 villagers in front of Naruto were killed. Naruto activated his curse mark, stage 2, and went around using his claws to rip people apart, even with his tails. And by the end of it, his body count was approaching 100. But then Naruto's curse mark burned, and this is a sign. When he returned to the arena, in the distance, he saw a fully formed Shikaku going against a massive toad. But Naruto's attention was drawn to the barrier when Tayuya called out his name and said, "Orochimaru wants your help, hurry." The Anbu who were watching the fight saw Naruto and chased him, but Tayuya quickly made him enter the barrier. So Naruto watched as the sword slowly pushed into Hiruzen's chest, and Orochimaru's arms were turning a dark color. Naruto ran in quickly and shoved the sword through, causing Hiruzen to fall over, and the Reaper Death Seal faded away, but still Orochimaru lost the use of his arms. Hiruzen looks at Naruto, trying to hold back the bleeding from the sword, and says, "Naruto, you're not like this." Naruto said, "You don't know anything about me." Hiruzen, with his final breath, said, "I do. Minato and Kushina trusted me to protect you, but I failed. Please, Naruto, do the right thing for your parents." And Hiruzen slowly drifted away. Naruto reflected on the destruction he caused to the village that his father once swore to protect, and he started to feel conflicted. His mind is telling him no, but his body's doing the opposite, just egging him on, telling him to keep doing what he's doing. And Naruto held his head in pain and screamed. Orochimaru walked over to Naruto and said, "Stop all your whining. Look at my arms, help me." Naruto stared at the ground and breathed heavily. He said, "I'll kill you." Orochimaru said, "What? You dare disobey me?" Naruto's curse mark started covering his body, and with his long nail, Naruto quickly turned around and swiped at Orochimaru, cutting his cheek. Orochimaru stumbled back, but Naruto got up and said, "I'll finish you." Naruto weaved hand signs and said, "Chidori." He dashed in front of him in seconds with his Sharingan activated and shoved the Chidori through his heart. Orochimaru coughed up blood and said, "Remember, I made you, and you always be in debt to me." And he coughed up again, causing blood to fly out of his mouth, and fell over dead. Naruto wiped off his blood off of him and looked at Hiruzen and said, "I'll make up for my sins." Actually, for this part, I might retcon it. I'll put up a poll tomorrow asking if you guys want Naruto to go the redemption route or remain evil. So, the Sound 4 don't know what to do at this point, but Naruto is their leader and they followed him. He was contemplating their next move, but when they dropped the barrier, Jiraiya, Kakashi, and many Anbu members surrounded the group. Jiraiya said, "Surrender or you'll be killed." But as he's saying this, he focused on one of the members in the back. Yellow hair, blue eyes, whiskers. He said under his breath, "Naruto?" Jiraiya was shocked that Naruto would join Orochimaru. He had a hard time believing it, so Jiraiya tried being kind to them, saying if they surrender, he'll make sure nothing bad happens to them. They'll just be put in holding cells, and Naruto said to his group, "Let's just go with them. If they want us dead, they would have killed us already. Plus, that's the legendary Sannin Jiraiya, the Toad Sage, and the copycat Kakashi. Even if, he were to try, Naruto doesn't think he'll be able to take them down." So, the Sound 4 agrees, and the Anbu members rush in, placing restriction seals on their arms, and took them to Ibiki, who, puts them in the cells. This is where the Sound 4 stayed for weeks, while on the outside, Jiraiya and Kakashi were the main leaders in the cleanup effort. But while doing all of this, they both realized that there were some severe casualties, or many people just severely injured, so they need a healer. Jiraiya had no idea where to even look, but then he remembered the other legendary Sannin, Tsunade the Slug Sage. So Jiraiya would go on it alone trying to find her, but he wanted to get to know his godson. So one day, Naruto is just chilling in his cell when Jiraiya walks up to the, main cell door and asks Naruto, "Do you want to, get out of this place? I need you to help me find someone." Naruto is like, "What's in it for me?" Jiraiya said, you get out of this place. I don't think you want to be staying in a cell for the rest of your days." And he sorta did have a point, so Naruto decided on it and told his team that he'll be back. He'll just make sure everything's alright on the outside. So Naruto and Jiraiya departed on their journey to find Tsunade. The entire walk, Jiraiya tried making small talk with Naruto, mentioning books, women, just anything to try and get his attention really. But after a few minutes of silence, Naruto said, "What was my dad like?" Jiraiya was taken aback and thought Hiruzen must have told him. And Jiraiya looked up in the sky and said, "Minato was my favorite student. He was noble, hardworking, and best of all, a good dad. He sacrificed his life for you, Naruto." And Naruto hearing all of this, because he goes into more detail, and Naruto hearing all of this was surprised. He had no idea that that's what it really took to be a Hokage or to be held to that regard. So Naruto still remained silent, but this impacted him in a really real way. So the two stops at bars, ramen shops, just any sort of store with pictures of Tsunade and showing to the workers there, asking if they've seen her before. And they do this for tens, almost 100 shops by now, and have gotten no luck. So Naruto and Jiraiya end up in the same town as they did in canon, and Naruto is booked into the same inn. The two go out that night to check some bars because Jiraiya knows Tsunade as a gambler, drinker, so what's a best place to check than a bar? So they did, and as soon as they walked through the door, Jiraiya could recognize her from a mile away. That blonde hair. Jiraiya said, "Tsunade!" And Tsunade, who just lost another card game, looked around all drunk like, "Who's calling my name?" And when she turns around, she's like, "Oh, it's you." Jiraiya walks up and says, "Whoa, what's the sad face for?" Tsunade said, "What is it, Jiraiya?" So Jiraiya actually got serious and said, "The Leaf Village was attacked and we need a healer there, but no one's as capable as you." Tsunade said, "You can find some other person to do it. I have better things to do." But then Naruto chimed in and said, "Are you really serious?" Tsunade's like, "Jiraiya, who's this kid?" So he explains that Naruto here is Minato's son, And Tsunade actually couldn't believe it. She's looking at Naruto like squinting her eyes, and then she's like, oh, okay, that makes sense now. So Naruto continued with his point, saying Tsunade is selfish right now. She has the capability to heal almost everyone in the village, yet all she wants to do is drink and gamble her life away. Is that really something her grandfather would want to see? And Tsunade gets angry and slams the desk and says, what do you know about my grandfather? Jiraiya came in between the two of them and said, okay, you two, we can settle this some other time. Now, Tsunade, seriously, we need your help back in the village, so is it a yes? Tsunade sat back in her chair and took another shot and said, whatever. Sure, I'll do it. Jiraiya had a big smile and said, well, great. We'll head back in the village in a week. So the next day comes and Jiraiya is out, he's enjoying the little time he has out of the village, getting some research done, while Naruto is in the inn still, doing some light training, when Naruto gets a knock on the door. And right now he's just thinking it's Jiraiya, so he goes to it and he opens the door, and when he does, he sees two tall dark figures in black robes with red clouds on them, and one of them spoke, Naruto Uzumaki, you're coming with us. But that is where I'm going to be leaving this one off. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end of the video. If you liked it, like, and if you like my content in general, subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next What If.